The announcement of the final investment decision for Uganda's oil and gas project signifies the commitment of the oil companies to invest close to $15 billion into our economy in order to develop this project. This will therefore be a significant boost for our country, given that our GDP is close to $40 billion US, and so we are going to see close to half of our GDP invested in a period of 3 to 4 years. This means that as a country, we need to prepare to retain a significant portion of this investment. And how will this be done? This will be done through the participation of Ugandans and Ugandan enterprises in providing goods, works and services to these oil and gas activities. We expect now, with the announcement of the final investment decision, we expect the detailed engineering, procurement and construction works for the Tilenga, Kingfisher and East African crude oil pipeline projects to kick off in earnest. When we talk of Tilenga and Kingfisher, we are referring to the two projects that comprise of a number of facilities, different infrastructure required to produce Uganda's crude oil. That means the companies will now start the works required to develop these facilities. These facilities include a central processing facility, commonly referred to as a CPF. They include infield pipelines. The CPF, the work of the CPF is to process the crude oil. You know that when crude oil comes out of the ground, it is mixed with gas, with water, with sand and other components. So the CPF is the first stage of cleaning the crude oil. So at the CPF, the crude oil will be cleaned. How will the crude oil get to this CPF? It will get to this CPF through pipelines, what we call flow lines, small flow lines that connect the different fields where the oil has been discovered to the CPF. So we'll also have over 400 wells drilled for both the Kingfisher and the Tilenga projects in order for the crude oil to be produced. So we will have two CPFs. One will be located in Bulisa, serving the the Tilenga project, and then the second one will be in Kingfisher, serving the Kingfisher field, and later on serving the fields that are in Kaisotonia in Hoima. The Petroleum Authority of Uganda is the regulatory agency for the oil and gas sector. So our work is to ensure that the oil and gas activities are undertaken in line with our laws and regulations as a country and international best practice. So in regulating the oil and gas sector, one of the areas that we focus on is what we call local content or national content development. And this basically refers to participation of Ugandans and Ugandan enterprises in the sector. So in regulating the oil and gas sector, we also have a responsibility to promote participation of Ugandan entities, but also support efforts to improve their preparedness. So we believe that Ugandan entities are prepared and others are getting prepared. Before the announcement of the final investment decision, we've had close to $3.8 billion invested in the economy. That is from around 2006. Now, of this 3.8 billion, we've had close to 30% that has been retained by Ugandan entities. So we believe that Ugandan companies have developed the necessary capacity. As the authority, we have published a list of close to 400 Ugandan companies that have provided different goods and services to the oil and gas activities. We've seen Ugandan companies do work in logistics, in surveys, in freight forwarding and clearing, in ICT services, human resource, and even now we have Ugandan companies that are able to do the more technical work, such as the geotechnical studies that are required. So we think that as a country we are prepared, but still we need to continue these efforts. And some of the work that's being done to prepare Ugandan companies includes supplier development engagements. These are done by the oil companies on a quarterly basis. We bring together different SMEs, entrepreneurs, people interested in information, basically to give them information on the planned activities, what is required to bid for a contract, the requirements for health and safety, and also giving them general information on the projected demand for different goods and services so that they are ably prepared. As the Petroleum Authority of Uganda, we are also implementing a project funded by the African Development Bank to train 200 SMEs to prepare for the opportunities. And when we talk of opportunities, we are not only looking at the direct opportunities in contracting and providing goods and services, but we also have indirect opportunities and then also induced opportunities where the bulk of opportunities for our country are. So we are not only looking at direct benefits from the projects, but we know that there's going to be an influx of people into these areas that will need different services, hospitality, accommodation, tourism, and the like. So we want our SMEs to be ready to provide quality services. And so this huge opportunity that is coming to us as a country is something that we must prepare for. We must continue telling Ugandans and the business community that these next 3 to 4 years is where the biggest opportunity is. We're already seeing huge transformation in the areas that are hosting these operations. If you go down to Bulisa now, Hoima, Chikube districts, the road networks have been upgraded to first-class tarmac roads. This is a factor of production for the economy. These roads are facilitating oil and gas work, but they are being used by the local communities, by the local businessmen, for them to access even bigger markets. Health facilities are coming up in these areas. Social amenities are being improved. Where we'll have the CPF, it will be an industrial area. We are doing physical planning. Ministry of Lands is doing physical planning of the towns in these areas. So I think the transformation that the oil and gas sector is bringing to this country is already live. It's already showing in these areas. And so as a country, we call upon, as the authority, we call upon Ugandans to continue supporting the activities in the oil and gas sector.